just request that anybody has a cell phone, put it on silent mode or turn it off. Time for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know when you miss the pledge, you don't get paid.
Yeah, I'm standing right out there.
Morning, Sid.
Aye.
We'd like to welcome everybody to the February 4th Commissioner meeting. And as you well know, we do have a new form sign-in sheet, with names, the county of residence, and public comment period, and also on a specific agenda item. So I will, as soon as Sid gets settled in.
Hold everybody up.
That's fine. Everybody get a chance to look at the agenda? Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Newhart, second by Pfeiffer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Any conflict of interest this morning? Okay, we'll move on. I stress that, I'm sure everybody is, that we always look at the minutes. Any of the minutes, if there's any corrections, make sure that we do our homework before the meetings. Any changes on the meeting minutes from the commission or the drainage?
I move to approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second by Mike. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Okay, we do have a public comment period here, and I will limit that to 2 minutes, and if I feel that you need additional minute, I will give you 3 minutes. So, Ray Geffrey, you are on. You have nothing right now? Okay, all right. Okay, then we'll move on. And if we do have an agenda item and whoever is signed up for specific agenda item, please raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. Okay, all right. We'll go into, we have to wait for the drainage hearing, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
For that
We
time.
have to wait for 10:30 and 10:45.
Yep, okay,
Take a rest.
all right. We'll go down to resolutions. Okay, I'm gonna move down to the 11:15. Discussion of resolution to oppose a legislative bill that would implement a school voucher program. And we're going to, we're gonna discuss all 3 of these and make a separate motion, because I feel they all need separate discussion on. So basically, the school voucher program, there is on tab number, what is it, Lindley, 2?
The second page.
There's been, there have been 2 bills in the state legislators, that were killed in committee. And if you have the question why this is on the agenda and why this is a topic at the county commissioner meeting, and basically I put it on the agenda, is that I feel tax dollars that are going to this voucher program could affect, if there's like 15 kids leave the school system, that's 15 kids times 7,800, which is state aid. That in reflection is going to weigh on our communities and the property taxes. That's the reason why I have it on the agenda. Any other questions on it? I want your input as commissioners, what you feel, if you feel that's something you would like to pass. And if you don't, we can vote on it, we can leave it alone.
So, you know, these bills, I haven't read them, you know, the ones that got killed. But so basically, if somebody wants to take their kids to another school or homeschool them, they can get paid by the school district for doing that,
It
taking
has
it out?
nothing to do with the school district,
Okay,
it has to do with the
explain it
state.
to me.
Mike, do you know more?
I don't know if I know,
Okay,
but basically, it's a voucher that, and I'm not even sure how they get, what this voucher's good for.
The voucher
Straight
is-
cash, or is it
no, no.
tax credit?
I talked with, one of the legislators last week, and I was really upset because I figured if every homeschooled child is gonna get $3,000 and they can just do anything they want with it. No, it's for textbooks and learning, and it has nothing to do with the school. From what I've been told, that they would have to be somewhat accountable if they receive this money, up to $3,000, accountable on that, what they're actually learning. But this would be for, say for instance, someone is in Sioux Falls and they're going to a private school right now, they would get this up to $3,000.
And where's that supposed to come from?
That's coming out of the general fund, $4 million right now, that's gonna come out of the public school fund.
Right, there you go, yeah.
And the point that was made to me, Mike and I discussed this last night, and my point being is, I'm not against anybody, if they wanna homeschool it, that's fine, I have nothing, there's some good parents out there, but there are some parents that, the minute that they don't like a teacher, not like back in our days when I didn't tell my parents, cause I would've got it again when I got home. Things have changed, they yank them out of school or homeschool, they're in the pajamas all day long, and they're playing video games. And we're gonna have more of that, and like Nick Wiseman, our superintendent, said if there's 15 kids that leave, that school still, the heat still goes on, the lights still go on, the teachers, the bus runs, and we got 15 times $7,800 that the school isn't getting, then that affects us as a community in property taxes. So, that's why.
Has the schools put out any?
Yes, schools have, both Leola and Eureka both have passed resolutions against it.
So, why would we wanna get involved at this point in time when it's resolved that the committee was killed already at this point?
They're gonna,
Are they gonna?
they're gonna bring it up again. 10/20 they're gonna bring up.
I guess my opinion is anything that, is gonna hurt any of the small local schools, and I don't see where this is gonna help them. A bill like that would help them, I would be in favor of doing something like this, it's just a resolution. It's what we would think, but, you know that in, was it in the 80s when they did open enrollment? That did not do certain schools any good. I always thought that fine, take your kids where you want to, but the money stays here. Of course, it doesn't work that way. But, that'd be my opinion, I would.
Just be open and honest about this, there was 13% of homeschooled kids in this county. There's
It's that many, huh?
there's 26 in Eureka and 12 in Leola. That's all the public records.
Wow.
And as far as the public school gets $0 of tax state aid from that. The only time they get any money is if they are able by state rule to come in and be in choir, to be in sports or whatever. If you are in PE, if that's 1/8 of that day, they get credit for that, 1/8 of that day. But sports, they do not. And they are eligible, even though they're homeschooled, they are eligible by state law to come in to participate in those things. Other than that, you take 26 kids times $7,800, that's quite a chunk of change. And that's a choice they make, that's fine, you know, but.
It'd probably be different too if, I haven't looked this year, but I think last year 77 or 78% of my taxes that I paid in the courthouse went to the school district. I have no problem with that, I'm not complaining about it, because we've had kids, we went to school there, and we've got kids and grandkids going there, but, and I don't know that, the dots are connected that way, but the county collects the taxes, I think we should have kind of an opinion on it. Just my opinion.
Mike, you have anything?
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of information yesterday, and a lot of it I'm not able to reiterate confidently. I feel like more discussion needs to be done. When you say zero money goes, I heard a figure of $95 comes to the school for kids. So what's the actual number?
You mean 9,500?
$95, not much, right?
You're talking homeschool?
For homeschool kids. And I don't know how that comes to them, and I don't know, maybe there's an error in that number, but let's be factual. It isn't zero. It might not be zero. Also, you know, as a homeschooling parent, there are reasons why we homeschool. Some personal, some public discrepancies with the school system. And it really isn't the commission's call to deal with some of this stuff. Yeah, it might hit us down the road, but our oath of office is to uphold the Constitution, state and federal Constitution of our people. So we need to look at that too. And at what point do we overuse these resolutions? I mean, you can say, well, it's just a resolution, okay? So where is the merit in doing it every time? At some point, when there's a topic that we wanna have a resolution that does have some merit and some constitutional bearing, it's just gonna be a resolution, nobody's gonna give a shit. And I guess maybe we shouldn't, it's just a resolution. It's an informed opinion, I think, by definition, I looked up. Or a formal opinion, and there's more to it, but those are the two words that stick in my mind. So, I mean, I'm not opposed necessarily, I'm torn, I'm not necessarily opposed to doing it, I'm just not sure if it's necessarily appropriate without a little more discussion and information from people who have actual hard figures. And so, another thing I did learn yesterday is there's a lot of people that are against this thing for multiple reasons. You can be against this legislation for the sake of the school districts, or you can be against this for the sake of the homeschool people. So two parties that might conflict in rhyme and reason are now forced to join together and think hard about this one topic. And it's kind of crazy, but somebody said war creates strange bedfellows or something to the effect, and it's true. So I don't know, I don't know if I support the resolution yet. Just because I'm not sure if I have all the information. I think that's it.
Is the main concern that if this would come to pass, the main concern is that you're gonna have more people homeschooling, is that?
Could be.
If that's the possible concern.
And Jeff, just to enlighten you a little bit, this is my opinion. Since COVID, I've been told that there's no accountability out there, and that's the problem I have with any of these bills. There's people in this area, I told Mike last night, whether it be him or someone else, I'm confident and they can do what they want in their home, but we have some in our area that they're not doing a good job. There's no accountability. If my son and daughter were in school and their grades weren't good on Wednesday night, they don't get to play on Friday night. The homeschool, is your son or daughter passing? Yes, he is. They didn't play. There's no grades, there's no testing, there's nothing, and that's why I have a problem with any legislation where we're giving up money to homeschool. There should be accountability.
Yeah, I can see your point, I'm not sure whether it's our place.
And that's why I brought it. If we don't want to, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
I guess like I said, I'm not sure if it's our
Okay.
place to try to persuade them, it's a school issue.
Yep.
And yes, it does, in the end, it could affect property taxes. If all of a sudden the school gets less aid, they're gonna need more money somewhere, and it usually comes down to the landowners that pay it. So it could affect in that respect. Who's actually pushing for this? I mean, it's-
2 year increase.
No, for the $3,000.
Who drafted the bills?
Yeah, who drafted the bills? Who's behind it?
I mean, who initiated
Yeah.
it? Well, first of all, Governor Noem did, and then Scott Woodenbach and James Melhoff are sponsoring the bills, 2 former years. And then, I believe they thought they had the votes to pass it through committee the other day, and then some people turned on it. So, from what I've heard, 1020 will be brought up again before the 41st day.
Well, yeah, we should definitely table it, cause I haven't read it. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, that, like I said, I only brought it up today because I figure if something happens within the next 30 days, there's really no reason to have a special meeting on a phone call for something like this, is my opinion. You know, if there's no motion on the floor, I will just, if you wanna table, that's fine. Mike,
I'll make a motion to table it.
okay, we have a motion on the floor to table it, we have a second. We have a second by Neil. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried to table. Okay, moving on. Motion to end the special council agreement with Sarah Frankenstein, Gunnarsson, Palmer, Nelson, Asmore, LLP.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
And
we have a motion, we have a
Second.
second. Second by Mike, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Motion to add Matthew Waldner to the Leola Fire Department roster on file for workman's comp coverage.
I don't know who that is.
Matthew
He works
Waldner.
at the state shop.
Oh,
Lives on the Urban Wolf place.
So moved by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Mike. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Is this a time slot resolution? We can go on to that, can we?
Go on to that.
Yep, okay. We'll move on to resolution 25-7, providing for the cancellation of checks and warrants issued by McPherson County outstanding for a period of 2 years or more. Lindley, you wanna
Yep.
give a little description on that?
Both of these checks were written on the 3rd of February in 2023. The individuals have been contacted at least 2 times, and we haven't received any correspondence, so this resolution will act as a final notice to either have the check reissued or cash it if they still have it. And if we hear nothing, then we'll cancel them at the end of this month.
So will they be contacted at all? They won't be contacted, it would just be through the paper or whatever that they would see.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I've mailed them
Have contact.
at least 2 times, I believe more. We do at like a 6-month interval and then again at a year. And then if we are sending out more notices, then I usually lump these in to just attempt to reissue.
We have a motion on the floor for 25-7.
I'll make a motion.
A motion made by Mike, second by Neil. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Resolution 25-8, selecting designees to request firefighting resources.
25-8 is required to, if the county would need to request, the county would need to request any firefighting, help from the Wildland Fire Division of the South Dakota Department of Public Safety. They require a resolution that allows certain individuals to contact them and request additional resources. In the past, we've named the commission chair, Dave as the sheriff and emergency manager, and myself. I don't believe we've ever contacted them, but if we would need to, then we would have to have this resolution in place.
So move to adopt
That was, that was seconded.
Okay, we have a motion by Jeff, second by Sid. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. We have a plot approvals for resolution 25-9, Newhart edition, and also 25-10 Integra edition.
These were both heard by the zoning board in January. Do you have anything else to add?
No, it's,
There's the new one.
pretty standard stuff, there was no zoning issues, so we moved it on to the commission. See no reason why the commission won't pass, and it's kinda just a formality at this point.
Where's the new Arc Edition?
My brother's place, he's selling part of his farm and had to plot out the house for a 1031 exchange.
Okay. And then Tegra is here in Leola.
Yeah, it's right at the edge by the elevator. And it, the reason it's coming to us is it's not all in the city limits.
Okay.
And, because of that, it had to go through our zoning,
Okay.
and there's no issues.
Yeah, the way I understood it was until this all was approved, they couldn't get that land on a single parcel.
Right.
Yeah. I'll make the motion.
We'll probably separate these motions, do you wanna abstain?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think.
we'll do a separate motion on the New Hartz edition, and Jeff will abstain. Okay, motion by Sid,
For the New
second,
Hartz.
second, second by Neil. Any other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion carried. Okay, and then on the Tegra edition, any questions on that? We have a motion by Neil, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Mike, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Do I have to sign those now, or can I sign them later? or-
Yeah, we can sign later.
Okay, we can sign them later, put them on the list. Okay, we'll move on to partial abatement 25-1. It's, number 6905, evaluation error, pay 2025 county portion abated $2.78.
So 25-1 was a detached garage that was entered incorrectly, resulted in a value that was about $1,500 too high. The total amount that was abated from, all of these are in tab 3.
On the yellow tab, or does everybody have the same color? Everybody have
Maybe
yellow?
not, yeah. So all of, the first two abatements were just errors that the DOE's office recognized after the abstract was finalized, but before tax bills were turned in, so the applicants in these cases there was no action taken by the applicants. We recognized that there was a mistake and we corrected the bill prior to the taxpayer ever receiving the bill. The total bill that was affected was $42.80 on 25-1, and the county portion was $2.78. That was too high. 25-2 was, the original abatement was 24-5. We approved that back in the last summer. So the problem was reported after the abstract was done, therefore it was still an issue for 25, since that incorrect value was turned in on the 24 abstract that was turned May of 2024. So the purchase year of the mobile home was entered as the make year. So I think if it was purchased in 2019, that was put in for the make year instead of the proper year, which was several years. It was several years older than it was entered as, which caused the valuation of that piece of the property to be $54,000 too high, which created an abatement of $1,246.60. The county portion of that was $106.59. The third abatement is for the Northwest GF Mutual building that was purchased by the city. Northwest GF Mutual owned and controlled the building from January to October of 2024. The city bought it in November of 24. So 2 months of 24 qualify as tax exemption per codified law 10-4-19.1. So when you take those 2 months off, it reduces the value by $42,000. So the portion of the bill that was abated was the 2 months worth, which is $964.27. The county portion is $82.45. And then I included a copy of the letter that I'll send to Northwest GF Mutual with the prorated tax bill for those 10 months. And then there was one added tax bill for the Leola Housing and Redevelopment Commission, which is the HOHM Housing Development Project in Leola. They were considered tax exempt, but since their bond is paid off per codified law 11-772 and 10-11-2, they no longer have a bond or other obligation or any agreement for payment of contributions by the federal government, which now forces them to be taxable. So they will receive an added tax bill this year for their 24 valuation, and then they'll receive an assessment notice just like any other property owner. And we'll continue to receive their income expense reports like we do for the other development projects to determine if they have a loan or any other obligation that would make them tax exempt per that statute.
So do we wanna add those two onto this here?
No, you don't have to
You don't
make
have
any motion on
Okay.
the added tax, it was just kind of an FYI in case,
Okay.
you would hear about that. So we would only need to approve the 3 abatements.
Anybody have a question on the 3 abatements? 25-1, 25-2, 25-3? I will ask for a motion for all 3.
I move to do the abatements.
Okay, we have a motion by Jeff, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Sid, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Okay, we're gonna move down to, we're gonna move up to Drainage Commission, 10:30. Turn it over to Scott.
We need a motion to go into.
Yeah,
I can do that.
go to drainage.
Or second. Okay, Scott. These, from what, from what I understand, you, had these approved earlier, or is there a new one here?
The one is new and one is old.
Okay.
And it's the 2 pieces separate from the,
So can you explain them to us a little bit? Explain the old one first.
Yeah, it's just a it's just a creek on the north side of the field there. And, I didn't quite get done. I started this fall, had a good run, but didn't quite get done.
You have maps of it?
That one. Yes, I have. I've got all the copies of the old ones here. Yes. You wanna see it? So it's there. This is, drones.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So who's downstream?
My dad's ground right here, and then, there's like, the Schumacher land.
And what year did
half a
we,
mile over there.
what year did we approve this before?
Oh, I don't know, it was been 3 or 4 times, I can't seem to quite get it done, but. What year? And then I was looking at this too, and then, I don't know how the expiration goes, if you start within a year or something. I thought it was 18 months.
I don't even remember, it's been so long since we've done any of these.
Hunter, do you know how that is now, 18 months?
Once they run out of, once we approve one, how long?
I would have to look again, but it's 12 or 8, I don't remember.
Okay, well, and then there's the schematic I followed.
Let me
they're marked area.
Yeah.
I got this here.
And then you guys farm this quarter here,
Yep,
how about this Tommy Cove down here?
yep, that's Tom's.
I guess it's kind of a,
So it's flowing down.
yeah. And then this kind of heads this way, doesn't it?
Yeah, yep.
Any issues with our right of ways, Glenn?
Back in there, no, not for us.
It's graded, but it's not really
Yeah,
used.
it's only the locals that use it.
Here,
So there's that, top thing, and then, yeah, so there's the area, and then goes over, this is Sam's quarter, Tommy's quarter, this is Schumacher. But yeah,
so you can follow it here. Guess if we approved it before.
Yeah, and really, what,
Right.
what we do in drainage, we're just basically here to protect our right of ways.
Okay, then I accept the motion to, just basically reapply, redo for the same project as before.
Renew the permit.
Which permit number?
Is
um,
325.
this one?
Yeah.
So it was originally issued in
Was
one.
20,
No, that is, this is the correct one?
It's just the first one of this year, I think.
no, that was the one
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
21.
it doesn't really say what it was.
Should be on the application.
Okay, here's the current one.
Yeah, it's twenty-five dash D dash oh one.
Correct.
I was just curious when it was first.
Well, 23.
Oh, it's in 23? Okay. Okay, then this other one is North Wheelow, 6 miles, 1 east, it's south of Sam's.
Sid, did you, was there a motion?
Yeah, I never even got a motion. Do we have a motion for it?
I'll
approve it.
to approve it.
A second? Okay, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, then this one is 6 miles north, 1 east. And then south of Farmyard, do you mean south of Sam's place then?
Yeah,
And, you have a map on that one?
yeah.
And this is a new,
Or. Yeah, I do.
this is a totally new
Yep.
app?
Here's the map.
Sam's, this is the corner. Oh, we call it
okay.
corner.
Okay.
And you wanna do this right here, and this.
Well, the field, the field.
So you're tiling this field? Is that
Yeah.
what you're doing?
This is tiling here, and then, but I got one outlet here that kind of encompasses here. And Let me think here.
So this, yeah, this is all grass
This is,
water.
I wrote,
Yeah.
what did I write there, 15 acres here,
And the outlet's there for this,
yeah, and then
the rest of the
and
stuff.
this is 100 acres here, so this would go here, and then this is 60 acres, and this will go around here, cause I can't, yeah, so this 60 acres here goes,
Where's the drain on that one?
it's right here.
Oh, you,
You wanna bore through the intersection?
No, I would dig through the intersection.
No, you wouldn't dig through the intersection.
Okay, wouldn't,
we can't do that.
We don't allow anyone to dig through it, on one of our maintained roads.
okay, well, you did allow it over here,
No, that was in the past.
and it was a good, it was
That
a,
wasn't cut, was it?
I don't, it probably was before all this other stuff, it's been a long time since we allowed anybody.
that was done 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
haven't
look
let
at that.
anybody for a
I
long.
didn't realize it was.
It was, but yeah, here and there, that's not the subject matter,
You're
but
right.
yeah, this is, I have no outlet here, there's no drop, so I just come around the corner.
So what's gonna be, is this gonna be a solid line? Or will that have perforated in it? Cause we know all this does.
Right, this will be perforated because the reason, yeah, this will be perforated.
So in other words, if it is, it should be taking some of the moisture out of this.
Yeah, I don't know, I never, yeah, I could,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm thinking that's probably the plus.
But,
We don't allow for freight
Yeah.
line through the road though.
Right, that'll have to be bored.
But
But
it's
and then-
solid line.
Solid. Yeah, I see what you mean, right. And it doesn't have to be double cased too.
Supposed to be case line, unless it's.
And then this here will have to be up on
They
your
keep
field.
changing everything.
This is gonna be on your field here.
right,
Yeah, it's not gonna be in the right of way.
right.
So do you think it's gonna change anything? It's getting the water off the top now, but it'll probably be trickling all the time.
Well, it'll be trickling all the time. I know it's not gonna hurt us, but I don't know about,
Here's
if it's gonna affect anybody else, adjacent landowners or anything. Cause it comes down there, it ends
Runs,
up going down through that corner, it ends up on Kenny's land, I
Yeah,
believe.
it runs down to Kenny's, it runs about a mile, or no, I measured it out.
A little over half. Oh, you mean the whole thing?
So this actually is the original waterway here.
Yeah.
I measured this out.
It's
down
Used
to-
to come through here too.
This is all swampy ground in here.
Yeah.
Remember cattails around here.
Well, the only way I'll do it is if it's made sure that it's double cased and it's not gonna affect our right of way, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think on the other one, we run over by the house there, we run a dual wall, tile. But that was been pretty good.
All right.
Glenn, are you good with that as far as our right of ways or got any issues that
Oh,
you know?
and then
I
I did
guess
say,
as long as it's double cased, it follows what our ordinance is, so.
what did I write on there? Is this, that it too? And then I have the outlets, I'd like to make them a little deeper, right where the outlets are, because I can't get, it's not a I mean, the waterway's like 2.5 feet deep, and then if I go straight away into the waterway, the tile's down 3 feet, and it'd be good, a good tile outlet, you should have maybe have 5 feet, you know, so I would like to make them a little bit deeper, I wrote that on the thing. Whatever, right here.
Just
Need
where,
to
just
make
where it comes
creek-
into the water?
Yeah, just where it goes into the waterway, need to make creek grass waterway deeper where the 3 outlets will be.
So is there gonna be something there to prevent it from washing more?
Yes, while they're
Grass in the end, when you're
Yeah.
done with it.
it'll drop off right away, and then I'll put rocks there, and then it'll be flattened out. Usually, what I've noticed is that about every 1,000 feet, there's about 4 feet of drop, give or take, so, so basically I'll take like a couple feet out of that, so it's still drop, but it'd be, let's say, a couple feet deeper,
Oh,
right where the, so I might have to run maybe like 700-800 feet or something, 500 to 1,000 feet or something. See how? Yeah, about 8, let's just say a stretch where and then it gradually gets less, you know, but it's basically.
at each outlet.
Well, basically, the whole thing, the way it sounds to me, is gonna have to be lowered,
Well, no, it'll be about to this corner,
okay?
I measured
That
this one
one?
now. And then this one will probably be, it'll be to this corner, so however long that is, and I can measure it for you if you want.
Yeah, taper it.
But it'll be, you know, just mild and all, as you get closer, it'll be obviously a little deeper, cause it'll have to be 2+ feet deeper than it is now.
So at this point, this is going to the culverts right here?
No, this will come over, this will be a pipe running here, this will be the main, and then it'll be, solid like you want,
Yeah, through there.
through the road, and then run down here. But for whatever it's worth, I don't know, it's like there's there's a electrical line for the farmyard here, they got a water tank there, so I have to figure out where that's at. There is electrical line there too, buried on this side of the road, that'll have to be washed out for, other than that, I think I'm okay. But,
And how far off the right of way is that main outlet then?
this running down here, I don't know, just maybe 50 feet out of the right of way, I suppose, 20 to 100, you know, just on the edge of the road, basically, in the field, you know.
Well, if you're okay with the plan?
For us, as long as the line is cased, again, according to our ordinance, following that, any other landowner
Is it
issue, I
affecting
guess.
any landowners down the road, further down?
It could, but really, I don't think
Yeah,
we have a say in
I
that.
don't-
What's that?
You have a, go ahead.
That pipe on 23, where it goes from 15 to 23 across the intersection, is that gonna be a solid pipe, Scott, going to the south? Cause I see this black line you got right here.
Yep.
Is that going to go
He has it around down
solid?
It could be, and I never thought about it, it should be perforated almost, because then it just, you know, maybe they want a tile, but,
Well, the reason I'm asking, is your intent then later on to come over here and tile that and feed that into there too?
well, that, if you know, like this field would be tiled over here in this corner, if anything, you know.
Cause is this the first creek that we got? Cause that section 23's got a creek down low
Right.
next to the road.
Yeah, this is the north side.
That's north.
right here.
So you're just
This is
gonna
what I
put some,
remember.
you don't have any intention of feeding this line draining that field?
No, I mean, that'll be another subject, you know, another application.
Okay,
We call it the
I was just wondering how much water I could expect.
Yeah, when it,
This is
when it
up,
starts melting.
To go over to this, you know, let's say this is the
Then
main,
it, then it
well, it
flattens
will
out
be
when you
main,
leave.
that's uphill kind of going this
Some of
way.
it goes
Yeah.
south, some of it
You know,
goes
main
east.
really should be down along the creek,
Well, I just,
don't feed to the
Well,
south.
I think
I just drove
Is that on the
over
Willow
there, I
Creek?
noticed there's quite a
I
bit
think
of
so.
grade coming down,
Cause it actually, this
This
creek
direction,
actually
isn't
comes
it?
all the way from our place.
drainage ditch.
Starts
I don't-
up in the hills.
I just wanna know how much water I can expect.
Yeah, I remember when
And
Dad.
because you're tiling,
commissioning
it's
going
not
on
just
Sunday
gonna dry
morning,
up
drive
in 2
through
days
there,
and go
drive through
away.
water.
That's all I don't need. The other problem I've got with it, I really don't have any issue if we know how much water we're getting. And before I can go along with this, the county is gonna have to go over there on that south road of section 23 and clean that waterway out, so that water can get off of my property. The main waterway, the culvert blew out many years ago. They went over there and they dumped rock in there and drove off. Well, that raised that road up. Then it pushed the water to the east. 2 years ago, we had a big rain. That small old culvert was east of that about 300 feet, I suppose, maybe 4. It washed that culvert out, put another creek across my ground. So what they need to do, when that second culvert got blowed out, they once again went over there and dumped a bunch of rock and gravel or whatever in it, plugged up that waterway. So now I've got water sitting on my corner because there's no way for it to get across the road until the water gets as deep. So if they will straighten that mess out on that road, I don't have a problem with it. But until that drainage is set right, so it can stay in the main channel, this is gonna be a problem for me. It's gonna be a problem for the road, and there's other people who use that road besides me. So if you wanna work that out with the county, I don't have a problem with it.
Are you following this?
I don't,
I'm not sure about
I'm not
there.
wrong, so I don't.
And years and years ago, like you said, they put a rock crossing in there.
No, let me correct you.
It's
It
east,
was supposed to be a rock crossing. All they done is put dirt over top of the
east,
old culvert.
east of the trees there.
Right,
Okay.
Oh, it's east of the tree.
and it raised the whole place, the whole main channel of that main creek. So it's about this much higher, so the water just sits there. If it was cut out and done right, there wouldn't be a problem. But they created another creek down below to the east of that, which they done the same thing, just went in there, didn't take the old culvert out, just filled it up with rock and gravel. Now there's no place to water to get across the road.
Till it gets so high and goes across.
Well, yeah, it's gotta be a gully washer, then it goes across the road.
And that's just right on the east side of the trees there,
Yep,
so the water will back up in there.
yeah, well, I've got that all in the grass,
It'd be
it
no,
never
it'd be
dries
over
out.
there. Scott, can you pull that up on your,
It's right there, you can,
you're gonna have to come over and not as good on these things. Get it? I wanna see this over here. So I know the trees sometimes will,
It would be,
over here,
yep,
right here's the trees.
and there's the trees, and then I think right here.
This would be where the rock crossing
And
is.
can I confirm it with Kenny?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure.
I know sometimes those trees, but, you know, put up a big bank of snow and then when it melts fast,
Yeah.
Right
the
there.
water will hit them and
You see
jump
this
down
here?
too.
Mm-hmm.
You see this here? That was never in there until that got blocked. There's an old culvert in there. 2 years ago, we had a big rain and it blew that culvert out, and put that creek across there. So now, they filled that up, so this whole line, there's no place for the water to go. It's up against the road.
okay, let me.
If, Kenny, come up here and explain this to us, 'cause
Well, it's pretty self, well,
tell me, I know I've driven down there, but I'm not sure how the land lays and stuff.
we've got this big creek that comes across and feeds in here. His is gonna come down and feed in here.
Okay.
Okay, then it spreads out here because, well, we just can't get in there, it's wet too much of the time. This was the main channel here. It used to come like this out of the dugout, but they dumped that rock in there, and part of the culvert's still there. They didn't dig it out, they just filled it up. So when they done that, that blocked a lot of that water from getting off of there and forced it down here. Okay, see that water moving there?
Instead of going
See
through
this here, instead of staying in the main channel. So then what happened is, it blew out this culvert and put another creek, filled this up, filled this up. This water should have never got to the east that far. But then when they dumped that gravel and rock in there was no place for the water to go, so it just sat. So if you go out there and straighten this mess out, so that, and it isn't hard. I mean, all of it had to done was dug it out low enough, put the rock in, and it would have been a rock crossing. Now it's a water block.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, I can figure it out.
Do it.
Well,
Just do it, it makes sense.
that's the main channel, and I'm guessing that's where it should have gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, with those stipulations, with, taking care of that, that's up to the county, I guess.
And that would be a maintenance issue for us, I don't believe we need to,
Yeah, you don't need any special motion for that.
okay.
Is, to the east of you, is that Ron Schumacher then, east on the south side? Where we're talking?
No,
No, that'd be us.
that's
That's
Chris.
you guys.
And we haul a lot of hay out of there or stuff, so if we can get that road fixed up, that'd be great.
You're talking the same
Oh,
thing we are.
yeah. And I don't know, would it be better just to put a couple culverts in?
I'm not putting more culverts in.
Just make it
Culverts
long
getting-
enough so you can,
Well, culverts are getting so expensive anymore that,
Well, you're gonna realize that you gotta dig it out.
yeah, dig it
And you
down,
gotta
put the
have
rock
lower
in.
than the grade so it don't hold that water on the ground.
Yep.
And you're gonna have to have some length to it too, cause if it's too sharp, it's gonna cut it out again.
Yeah,
well, it's hard for equipment to get through it too.
yeah, we can take it down, we can put rock in there and that won't be. a
What,
problem.
what about the, what about this spot then too, is that the same thing, or don't you need to do
Yes.
anything at the second spot?
I guess I'd eliminate.
I don't
that if
know,
the guy digs that
because
other
now
one
the
in.
creek is there. It might still be a problem, cause it cut that ground down. I
Well-
would say, I'd say this is what I'd do with you. fix that big one and do it right, and let's leave it the way it is on the second one. And if it doesn't pose a problem, you won't hear from me, but if it does pose a problem, then we're gonna have to put a culvert or two. Well, that's such a small one. I think a culvert would probably handle it once we got the big one fixed.
Isn't it really narrow there too?
Yes,
What
very.
grade there is, it's really narrow? Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with it,
Mhm.
cause with fixing that up, that's the way it was supposed to be, I guess.
Yeah, we can put a small culvert in that other one, that's not a huge expense to put a small pipe in for overflow.
Well, if you're gonna do it, why don't you just do them both right away? Put the culvert in too right away.
Then the only thing that I have a question, I think you guys were talking about is, this line on the east side of the road here, where you drain, is that gonna be perforated or solid, or don't you know?
I'd assume, it might be salt, but I think I should just say it would be perforated, because
How big a line is that gonna be?
I don't know. It'll be a main, but it'll be 60 acres here, and I have something else in mind that I might wanna upsize it a little bit, but that's another day, you know, or whatever, I don't really wanna go there, but this, I mean, whatever would do 60 acres would wouldn't be over a foot, you know, but I would.
Scott, can you get some of those things nailed down? I think we should just table this till next month and come in and give us some more solid answers on what's gonna be what. I mean,
Pipe size and
yeah,
everything.
I'd feel a little bit better about it. And then regardless,
The ditch on that side of the road is usually softer than ditch on the east side of the road. If he stays out in the field quite a ways,
it isn't gonna
I
matter.
don't see perforated pipe really changing much on that side of the road.
You're talking about this pipe here?
Yeah, the one running south. Crossing the road has to be cased, or it has to be a solid line. They keep changing product. It's gotta be solid line crossing the road though.
And board.
But I'm still
And
gonna,
board.
I'm still gonna say, I'd like to say, I don't like hearing, I don't know. You know what, when I ask you a question, can you get some more solid answers on pipe size and, 'cause I mean, you must have an engineer doing some of this. Are you the engineer?
Well, I might be the engineer right now, but I mean, I've been working on it quite a bit as far as, it's kinda goofy. It's not so straightforward, I mean, there's a draw on the south edge there, and I'm just having a hard time figuring out how to get it, laid in right. As far as the size of the pipe, I guess I'm not sure what this would be.
I guess what you're getting at is it probably doesn't really matter as long as it's cased going across the intersection. The rest of it is on their land. And if we do that section line east of the Bill Lockton place, that rock crossing, that addresses that.
That probably should be done regardless of whether this
Absolutely.
plan goes through.
Yeah. We could
Because
do
that's
that.
the original way it was, correct?
Right.
And so I think regardless, you're gonna take care of that anyway.
What do you guys think? Should we go ahead with it, or should we?
How far away are we gonna be out of the right of way here? I mean, we
That
don't
was-
have that where it's
Right,
down the
right,
ditch.
that was kinda, you weren't sure on that either. How far out of the right of way are you gonna have it?
It'd probably be about 20, at the closest, it'd be 20 feet to maybe 30 feet. Let's say 30 feet. But there's that electrical line, so it'd probably have to be on either side of the electrical line, wherever that is.
So
And then,
55, 60 feet off center line. On the road.
That's where the electric line usually.
No, I don't know, but that's.
Off the center line of the road, it'd be, the road's 33.
33 feet off
So
center
it's
line.
This is our right.
so that's, 16 feet, and then add, 20 to that, 30, maybe 40 feet off the center line.
Why don't you just drive out there, the transformer on the south side of the section is just a few feet off of the section line, crossing the road on the south side of that quarter.
Usually they're a couple feet outside the right of way.
Then you wanna go beyond it, obviously.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, I suppose,
Um,
yeah.
And they're gonna probably tell you how far away from the pavement
like Gary farms that one field, if you ever wanted to tile it, it should be, I mean, he's like, well, why did you put it too far over here, now we got, so it'd probably just, you know, like, the first run on the, it'd be that west side of the field, that would be the first, that's how you would imagine it maybe, so, but, I don't-
We'll figure that out, we'll come back. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
how
Yeah.
far off
Let's
the right of way?
give us some more solid numbers,
I-
bite
I'll-
size
I
and how
move
far off the
table
right
it.
of way and.
I move to table it until we get,
Okay.
we get a few more, of these details ironed out, and we're a little more sure of it.
Okay, you have a motion?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, anything else? Just give us some more detailed answers.
Just so I'm covered on this, is that a motion that you're gonna straighten that out over there?
I don't think
I don't think we need to, but if it's agreed to, for sure,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay,
it's a maintenance issue for us, so we really don't need a motion. You'll do it, right?
We'll do it.
okay. Anything else in drainage? Any comments
I'm
on
gonna dig
anything?
it, once I got it down, I'm gonna invite these two gentlemen out there to make sure it's where they want it, and I'll put the rock in it.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds good, Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, guys.
All right, okay. That should be it. Motion to adjourn drainage.
Motion to
Have a
adjourn.
motion and a second. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're out.
Okay. 10:45, agenda item, gentleman representing Demcota was unable to attend by via text, so we will move on to 11 o'clock, zoning data center discussion and possible action. Zoning board update, I'll hand it over to you, Jeff.
Simply wanna have a discussion, there's more to this data center than I ever thought there would be. We're in the process of completing our ordinances, and I'm gonna keep going to complete our ordinances. But the reason I kinda put this on the agenda was, I just had a thought, and you know, our comprehensive plan is, we're an ag county, we're zoned agriculture. So it's kind of our duty to preserve that in a way. And so talking about these data centers, I've heard more rumors and different things that once these things get started, they don't stop, and all of a sudden you got 3 or 4 of them, and it's kind of a vicious circle. My thoughts are that we should probably go a little slower with this. I would say go through the zoning portion, get that all set up, and then offer one conditional use permit. At this point, I would say, because you have already applied for a permit, we put it on hold, that you would be first in line. If everything's met as far as the zoning and the permit is issued from that date, we would put a moratorium on any other data centers and review it on a yearly basis between the county commissioners. That way we can see, you know, are we having issues with electricity? Are we having noise issues? Are we, you know, any other issues that could come up with these things? That would be a way to, if there are problems, to kinda get them ironed out. And I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts?
I agree with you, slow is better than
Absolutely.
jumping right
Being
into
it's
it.
so new, I'm so clueless to what it even is, but
Oh, the more you read, the more confused you get.
yeah.
It's kind of one of these deals. But, you know, we still, you wanna be somewhat progressive and not, you know, want new businesses, you want new tax revenue, and I'm not exactly sure what the tax revenue for our county would be with something like this. That's kinda, hasn't been determined yet, put it that way. We don't need to do that today. I just brought it up as something to slow it down a little bit and not have this domino effect type thing. You know, I've heard rumors that the wind tower thing is because there's more data centers coming, and I have no idea if that's even a, reality or not, I have no idea. But I would hate to see this county filled with wind towers because there's a data center that it's powering. And I have a hard time with that. So, anybody else have any comments about this? I guess I'll leave that up to our chairman to, if he wants to entertain any discussion on it.
Yes, Wayne?
Wayne Brightek, I like the idea of going slow here. We've got all kinds of, county commissioners across the nation that are having these problems with the data centers and whatever. And, there's plenty of information out there if we wanna go get it. And, as far as the taxes and the things like that, we should be able to research. I mean, we lead the world in these things in our country. We've got the information, how it affected those other areas in the tax structure. What did it actually bring in? Did it actually help the school system? I think you mentioned that, said you'd like to see that, those numbers. And again, it boils down to getting all the facts so we can make a good decision on things. And we don't have those facts. What we got is this mumble jumble, and half of it is covered up and so opaque. You can't see it, you can't find it. That MISO report, I keep going back to it, and the other day when we had the zoning meeting, I mentioned it again. But it's showing that they're gonna bring more power in here, and they said there's room for more. And that's, you don't lease 20 acres and only use 5. This doesn't make sense. It's gonna grow big. And, if we can somehow keep the size down or find the numbers to look at all this stuff and all of the information, so we can make a good informed decision based on those facts. We're all gonna be so much better off for it that it's scary when you look at these and the problems across the country.
Bill?
Bill Connors, Leola Data Center. The conditional use permit is, pretty open as to what the data center is. We're not trying to hide anything. It's a 50 megawatt center that we're looking at. We're not looking at any expansions. In fact, the Leola substation, MU substation can't handle anything above 50 megawatts. So that's just not gonna happen at that site. We don't have any expansion plans. We're looking at 50 megawatts. That's it. We did call the state last week, got some more information from the state, talked to the county, talked to Hunter and Lindley, and the incremental property taxes for the 50 megawatt center is gonna be about $50,000. That includes the centrally assessed electric substation upgrades, as well as the real property. Also mentioned before that the data center would be interested in working with the county to also fund some additional areas that have come up, such as maybe first responders funding something like that, or some other additional payments to the county above the $50,000 incremental property taxes that would come in.
That makes a little more sense.
But that was just my thought was, let's slow it down a little bit. Not saying shut it out, but slow it down and kind of see where it goes. And as far as reviewing it, we can review it on a yearly basis as the county commissioners. I would if a motion is made to do that, I would put the date as the date of when operations start. A year later, we'd review how that center is functioning, what it's doing to our community, and then if we wanna issue open it up for another permit, we can do it. If not, we, review it every year and see where we're going. That's my thoughts. Anybody on the board here?
Well, Hunter, maybe you can answer this. So the conditional use permit would be for this project. If they
Yes.
would ever wanna add on, they would have to get another conditional
Yes,
use permit,
absolutely.
right?
Yep, absolutely would have to have another permit.
So are you saying you were gonna approve the conditional permit then?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You're still gonna research one?
They would have to, go through all the motions and adhere to our zoning requirements. But once our zoning is in place, if they check all the boxes on there, there's no reason for us not to issue a permit. Now, that's not saying that we can't put special conditions on, as commission or the Board of Adjustments could, we could maybe say, well, we think you should plant trees to help with the noise, or, that's just an example. But we could put conditions on above our ordinance, but if they do everything that's in the ordinance, if there's a variance needed from somebody and they get that variance, or, that type of stuff, then there's no reason for us not to issue it. I would say, just because they were first in line, they actually submitted an application which we put on hold till we had the ordinance in place, that they would have the first opportunity. That's what I'm saying.
And that's good, that you have a chance to look at all this, because that word unregulated bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Unregulated, so.
Wayne, I'm not familiar with the ground out there, but if you would say move the whole thing as far to the northwest corner of the DRAD land as you could, is there kind of a hump in there where you try to get it hidden
You would,
over the hill?
you would.
I know, but how close?
I don't even understand why it doesn't go out by Ordway. There's really nothing out there, to the west. That whole section line, you could put a road right down there. If that was west, half a mile to a mile.
South of the Webb Water Tower.
Yep, south of the Webb Water Tower, and then far enough away from that Webb Water Tower, cause I did hear that Tyler Huffman wanted to build there, but he's having some problems with the pipeline.
Well, that's where they meet.
So, but you'd be more than a mile south if, now I know that's Jerome Wall's pasture in there and his land, the old Logan place there, and Wiedmeyer, I think, was there. And then Weishauer's got that big pasture there. But they're
Ordway's-
back in there where nobody here.
Ordway is on the west side.
Yeah, Ordway's,
But what if, would it get close to a mile away from your place if they would move it to the northwest corner of DRAD's? It'd get a little further away.
they're getting farther away, but they're below the hill, which is helping. I mean, back in, they're right by alongside of Weishauer's pasture.
Okay. I've driven by
From what
there.
I've heard, they wanna be right up against that power. And so that's where the issue comes in, and then you got, but no matter what, you're gonna be dealing with Weishauer's cattle in the pastures there or wherever. You've got that noise right across the road from Weishauer's pastures, so, or, pasture, their bull pasture, where they house their bulls.
Okay.
So, but farther west would be the answer.
Okay, Jeff, did you want to wait on the moratorium, or you feel that we wanted to do it today?
Well, I wanted to get feedback from you guys, see how you felt about it, and if it's very positive to do that, I would make a motion, but,
Do you wanna wait until we get some information on this? Okay, the second question is, who's gonna gather this information? We leave this meeting today, we say we're gonna do it, who's gonna do it? We come back to next meeting, and, oh, who are we supposed to
Well,
do this?
it really more or less boils down to the finishing of the zoning book.
Sure, I know.
So in that process, we're looking at stuff like that. We're looking at different things, and there's, I've got some people on the zoning board who really kind of dig into things a little
Okay.
bit. So I really think that that's where
That could be a
this
task. of
board
one of
has
those.
to take, has to look at what the zoning does and says, yeah, we put you guys there because you know, you're working for the county and trying to do a good job of what you're doing, so. We had a really good meeting at the zoning, there was a lot of input, a lot of suggestions, we went away from there with a lot of different things that we're gonna add to the zoning, and we're gonna be going through it again next week, and I'm guessing there'll probably be a few more things added, or some taken away, I don't know. Hopefully after that meeting, we'll have the outline of the ordinance that'll get sent to this commission, and of course, then we have a public hearing at the county level, or at the commission level, and, can make changes at the first public hearing, the second public hearing. Really doesn't have to be a public hearing, it has to be a hearing.
Mhm.
But at the second one, you probably don't make any changes because then you start all over. So, I'm thinking that either if we're gonna do this, we should do it at this meeting or the next meeting before the ordinance is done. Because you could get an overlap in there where somebody, this group would come in and apply for conditional use permit. Well, to do it after they applied probably isn't really fair. So I think we wanna do it, just do it.
I would suggest we wait till next meeting to gather information pro or con from the audience or from us. It isn't really gonna matter.
And actually, the next meeting is a possibility, it could be the first hearing
Okay.
of the ordinance at the county commission level. So I'm good with waiting. I think it would be a good thing to do.
Okay. Mike?
Well, when you mentioned, you do it a year at a time and review it after a year. Building's up, it's all already functional, what do we do? Oh shit, we don't want it. Now,
Well, I'm not saying we're gonna shut down them if we don't like it. I'm saying we may not issue another.
It's
permit
for
any
additional.
more.
first edition, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, once it's here, it's here.
You know,
You know, that, but I guess if it is something that we don't like, we say we don't want anymore because it's just not something.
Scott, right, Scott? Is it?
Bill.
Bill, sorry, Bill.
Yeah.
You claim there's no chance of expansion.
We don't have any expansion plans
But
that would have to
beyond the
come
50
through.
megawatts.
But
And it would have to come through us.
That would have to come through to the zoning board again, to the, yeah.
Bill, I have one question on the, was it January 28th when the PUC had the hearing for MDU supplying the electricity into FEM's area? That was tabled, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, we requested postponement, pending McPherson County, on the zoning ordinance.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Because if we have to move the site, then, we'd have to go through the commission proceeding again.
Gotcha, okay.
So,
Okay, so you're gonna want to get your conditional use permit before you go to the PUC and get them?
no, what we need is, at least what the zoning ordinance would be.
Oh,
and the-
gotcha.
And the setback and where the location would be, where the location would have to be, whether it's the northwest corner of B-Red, and that's right around a mile from Wayne's place, the northwest corner. And then, they're, so.
And, you know, there too, if it's not quite a mile, it would require a variance. And, you know, you have to go through that.
Right.
And if that all works out, fine.
Yep.
You know, that's,
So Bill, what's cheaper, paying off Jerome and D-Rads and all these people affected, or moving it?
it depends.
Well, that's what it's looking like.
Yeah, and there will definitely be some additional costs, we did, through Derek, try to reach out to Wayne suggested we talk through his attorney, so we'll approach that.
The reason for that was, just because I think that you should visit with him,
That's fine.
and,
Okay.
and then I just think it's better to be represented than not be represented in this matter.
Okay.
Is there any way that we can know, or the public can know what this would generate as far as tax revenue to the, you know?
When you said-
I'm just asking the question. I
Bill,
don't know.
when you said $50,000 taxes, I'm assuming that's per year total taxes. Well, to the county, what is it, 20%?
Yeah, 20, at the very most 24%, and it varies.
Yeah. So
That we
we're
actually
looking
get
at
out of
about
paying here.
12,000 a year
So it'd be more
taxes for
schools.
the county.
Right.
So, it was my understanding that was gonna be
County share?
the county share.
Oh, well, it's a little better.
Yeah.
Per month.
Yeah. Lindley, I don't know if you can answer this, but like Austin's hog barn, wasn't there like a $49,000 incentive from the Department of Revenue that the county got after he had it in operation?
It wasn't through the Department of Revenue,
Okay.
but it was,
Department of Ag, maybe.
I think it was through the governor's office, but it was a special program that he was a part of, that I believe, don't quote me, it deferred sales tax revenue that the state would have collected on that building. The state then deferred that revenue back to the county.
So, any idea what, on something like that, what is the tax bill for that, for the county? What would it be?
I would have to.
Treasurer
pull-
question, yeah,
Yeah, I would have to pull
Okay.
that parcel.
okay.
Sid, one more thing, you know, there's, down in Gettysburg, that one's got, you know, you could find out what they got for taxes out in Potter County out of that deal.
Is that Sully County or Potter?
Potter,
I was told this morning Sully, but
is it Sully?
I was
Gettysburg?
just
I
told by
thought-
zoning
Potter.
board
Well,
member.
Gettysburg's
Well, that's Potter. That's
but
Potter.
I don't know where it's at.
And that's a data center?
There's a data center down there, and then the one in Sully County just got approved here.
Okay, that's.
This, I think, last fall,
Okay.
just this past fall.
There'd be some people to talk to, right?
But there's more in the state. We should be able to contact them and get the numbers from them and say, talk to maybe their commissioners, if you know somebody down there, and say, what did it really generate for us?
Okay.
And, there's more in the state.
All right, so we will, wait till next meeting, think about the moratorium, you know, do some research if you know people in other counties. And, okay, thank you for all the discussion. We'll move on, Dave, are you out there? Dave? Okay, Dave. Good morning, Dave. We have, tab, number 4, board members, B 911 review and discuss the North Central Regional bylaws, discuss the 911 coordinator position.
So Chairman Opp and I sit on the North Central 911 Regional Board. It consists of, I believe it's 9 counties, to include one out of North Dakota. They were in the process of updating their bylaws, and I included a copy or provided a copy to Lindley, and I think she's probably shared those with you. Really doesn't require any action from this group, I just wanted to share with you what actions are being taken there. The 911 board obviously will make the decision whether or not to approve those, but those are the activities that are going on. Something else that I want to bring to your attention, and Mark, I don't recall, were you able to get back on that meeting?
I
after?
was on, for about 3/4 of it.
Okay. But because of their Zoom program, I don't think they scheduled enough time, so everybody had to log off and then log back in again.
Oh, okay.
And I was not able to do
Oh,
so,
okay.
but Sheriff Sayre from Perkins County did contact me after the meeting and wanted to know if I heard the There's some concerns with some, employee retention and being able to fill some of the dispatcher positions, which is a little concerning. So if they're not able to be fully seated, there is a possibility, and we're not talking about this today or tomorrow, but there is a possibility that they may no longer be able to function as a PSAP. So planting that seed, if for some reason that does actually come to fruition, we'll have to find a different place to go. And it probably will require some additional funds from us. Right now, we are very, very fortunate that the only thing that we are contributing towards that PSAP is our 911 surcharge, which, put a little plug in for the 911 surcharge bill, if you get a chance, research that, because that's right now up for discussion in our state legislature. There's a movement to try to repeal that 911 surcharge. Right now, it's at $2 per phone line. So, and those funds from McPherson County, whatever we collect, goes directly to that PSAP, and that helps fund that. Really, those surcharge funds were only intended to fund, I believe it's 40 to 45% of the operation of that PSAP. And for everybody else's, I guess, benefit of PSAP is a public safety management point. So Mobridge dispatch is where all of our 911 phone calls go to. So that's considered the PSAP. So again, just planting that seed. If for some reason something would happen there, we will maybe need to start looking into maybe Brown County, and it might require some additional funds from us to pay for those services. Nothing right now.
So if you went to a different site like that, like Brown County, would those or that surcharge go to them?
If they're no longer functioning as a PSAP, then yes, I would have to believe we would take those funds and send it to.
We would be required to submit 100% of our surcharge fees, just as we are now, but there would be a possibility of an additional allocation that we needed if they would take us, and we're required to have 911, so we would have to
Gotta
go
go somewhere,
somewhere.
Right.
And our surcharge would follow. It would just be a question of, is there another bill that we'd be required to pay? And then if the surcharge goes back, I believe it was $1 before last year.
$1.25, I believe. So
Then it was increased to the 2 at last session, so then if that would be repealed back to the $1.25, then we might, I guess we might be.
Okay, well, I guess we'll deal with that when we have to.
Yep, we will. Just kind of keeping you informed on it. Really nothing else, if I, go ahead.
Discussion on the coordinator.
I guess we haven't named a coordinator. I don't know that we have anybody that wants to be named as coordinator, so I don't.
Okay. Some of the functions that go along with that are establishing or assigning 911 addresses. And I'm not interested in doing that. That's more of an assessor's role, I would say.
That's something we don't have.
Not right now, Sharon used to do that.
Oh,
So anytime that there's a new building or new
Sure.
construction, then an address is assigned to that.
I can tell Hunter wants to do it.
We're assuming.
Well, we've been trying to research how to do it, and we think with Sharon's guidance, we'd be able to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so you're still researching.
right, she left us with material on how to do that, so when, it hasn't come up yet that we need to establish a new 911 address, but when that would come up, we would talk with her and figure out how to do it, so.
Okay,
Good.
so it'll be taken care of. Okay, anything else, Dave, for us?
Two things, if I may, just a quick thank you for the wage increase, or I know our office and staff do appreciate that. Update on the patrol vehicle scheduled to be built the second week in March, so maybe see it in South Dakota, latter part of April, beginning of May or so.
Okay.
Other than that, any questions for me?
Great big bubbles on top.
No?
Say it every time.
Yeah, I suppose we could put some sort of different colored light in the front just to get your attention.
It's just,
Yeah.
I saw Police Academy. Them bubbles were about that tall.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's what we need.
No, we won't be able to fit into the garage if we have something that.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, Hunter, tab number 5.
You want me to call Brooke?
I-
It's more her.
Okay, sorry.
I will quick call
Sure.
her.
Here's the agenda for that commissioners workshop.
I don't know if all of you receive an email, I know I did, as far as the South Dakota Association of County Commissioners Workshop, April 9th and 10th, and here.
This is something, okay, they're ready for.
I'll pass this around if you.
Yeah, we talked about that last night. I won't,
Okay.
I will be leaving home.
Happen, yeah,
When is it?
April 9th and 10th in here, I'll just pass it around. Tilbrook,
I get it.
Okay.
Tilbrook comes, is there any reason with the reviews to go in executive session, anybody, or for anything else, we need executive session at the end of the meeting?
I don't have any.
Okay,
I would for legal.
okay, all right, okay, so we'll do that.
She said she's on her way, so
All right.
she'll, just one moment.
So that would be 2 subsection 3.
That's.
Okay, after they're done, we will move on to the highway department and the resolution for the bridge and reinspection program, and then we do have a little bit for the boiler, discussion on the boiler.
Just a sec, when do you have to know if somebody's gonna go to this?
I need to have the registration done by March 21st, so
morning,
by the
Brooke.
March meeting, if you would know, then I could.
You
send
know,
it
there's,
in.
you know, a planning and zoning session that, you know, I probably wouldn't mind going to, I don't know if I could go both days.
So pre-registration, is there money up front?
Yes.
Some of them are great, some of them are.
Okay, Brooke, we have you on the agenda, you and Hunter, as far as the timeline for the assessment appeals, any update?
Dave, oh, one day, the other day.
No updates, so we,
Okay.
we thought it was just since we had 2 new commissioners, we just briefly go through the timeline on appeals and then
Good,
we'll be done.
good, good update, that's it.
So, I don't know what tab it is, but,
Tab 5.
okay, so you guys have this in front of you?
Yep.
So pretty much, the main thing is the second page. So how it works for appeals, so March 1st is when we have to have our assessment notices mailed out. So everyone in the county who owns property will get an assessment notice from us. And so, some people look at them, some people don't. If you look at them and you're like, whoa, this value seems high. So if you live in city limits, you have to go to your finance officer, so if you live in Leroy, you gotta go to the city office, vice versa for Eureka. Watonka, Hillsview, Long Lake, they don't do that, they go to the county boards.
Okay.
So, there's a form they have to fill out, but pretty much they start their boards March 17th. County, we start April 8th. And then if we have to go to the state, then that's in May.
So Brooke, I have a question, the city
Yeah.
of Eureka, is that just the city of Eureka, or does that pertain to a mile jurisdiction outside?
Nope, they will just be what's in city limits.
That's
The
every
mile
bit of
just,
Eureka.
yep, the mile outside, that's part of the county,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
yep. So. You guys have any questions? Good, you could ask, there's no dumb question.
I thank you for this, because I don't think I've seen this either, maybe.
Yep, the Department of Revenue, they put this together, there's also one for the public property owners. So we do not mail this stuff out, but it is available, and if someone from the public wants it, we can give them a copy, we can email it to them, however it's convenient for them. But it's pretty similar to what you guys have for the boards. It has the dates, it has just basic assessment information, kind of how numbers are arrived. We have been getting quite a few calls, so the tax bills have been sent out, and we've been getting quite a few calls on their tax bills, and so we encourage people like, hey, don't wait till assessment time to appeal. Let's try to, before we put the new values out, let's try to come to an agreement or beforehand, but that doesn't always happen either, so.
Okay. Any questions for Brooke and Hunter? Anything on your end? Any new news? Okay. All right. Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks,
Short
Robert.
and
Thank
sweet.
you guys.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to tab number 6. Tab number 6, you've got commission meeting, you've got, item 1, you've got call for bid for the hot mix asphalt. And then there's item 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, Glenn,
Item 1, the call for bid for hot mix asphalt for our upcoming season, and also our reseal oils, the CSS 1H tack oil. Kind of put a brief description down so that everybody who's not familiar with it has an idea. We use that for tacking for hot mix repair. AE 150S is our reseal oil. We use approximately 5,700, 5,800 gallons per mile when we do that. A breakdown, when they bid, it's always by the ton, and on the AE 150S, there's 239.18 gallon per ton. So next meeting, we can break that down when they do bid.
I move to call for bids for all the oils.
we have a motion by Jeff for the call for the bids, we have a second.
I will second it.
We have a second by Sid, any other questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carried.
Okay, item 2, motor graders, you guys wanted more information. Talked to Caterpillar, 150 motor grader without grade control, no LED lights, it'd just be standard lighting, cause we don't do a lot of night plowing. Without the cross slope is 427,640, and with the cross slope is 438,150. And if you ordered one in May of 25, you get it in 2026. That's pretty standard.
What, cross slope is just like the GPS, the level?
No,
What is it exactly?
not GPS, but when you set the cross slope, you can control the whole moldboard with one lever. That way you get your crown, once an individual who does use it has their crown set on all their roads, then it's a lot easier to go
Just hit a
back.
button and it goes back to that level
Well,
all the
you
time.
hit the button and you still control up and down, but the slope is always the same. It maintains that slope. So I've only got one operator that has it, and he uses it all the time. I'm not saying every guy would, but Josh uses it.
What would make it $10,000 more or $11,000 more?
The cross slope, and there's,
Hydraulics.
there's control over the wiring, all their little stuff. Yeah, I know.
So on this, ordered by May, delivered by, in a year, basically.
And probably the following spring.
What, do they need money down? What's the story? You have to pay for the whole thing?
No, I think you just have to sign paperwork that you're gonna buy it, like we did before. Purchase agreement. And then once it's delivered, that's when you pay for it.
And then, 140 basically just turned into a 150.
Yeah, 140 and M3, they say it's more, recognizable to the world. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, other than immigrant friendly, maybe that's another way to say it. But, yeah.
What's the one we'd get rid of, what's it worth?
80 to 90 right now. It's got 11,000 hours on it. It is an all-wheel drive, it's a 2011 140 M2. And that one, when I did check, in the back of your packet that I gave you, there's a estimate on a Butler Cat rebuild. And that's, I figured it on 904, cause that's the oldest machine with, the most hours. And they came in, their estimate came in at 161,643. And what that is completely rebuilding the engine, the transmission, the differential, the final drives, and the tandems. It's no electrical, no hydraulics, just that. And then if you do that, you receive a 3-year, 5,000-hour warranty. They don't, basically, you can go with, there's more packages you can go with, and you're gonna pay more.
So is this the one where the parts meet specs, they get reused, or is it like?
No, when they rebuild the engine, they'll go through and do a rebuild on it. Same thing with the transmission. And I assume, yeah, they're probably gonna, measure everything.
But like bearings and stuff will probably be replaced.
Yeah, they replace bearings and seals and everything. And then if you want a higher dollar package, they go through and replace all the hoses, all the hydraulic lines, everything. Then you're looking at another $80,000 to $100,000 if you do that. It's getting to the point where a refurbish, like on that old machine, you stick 161,000 into it, unless there's gonna be a discount for parts, it might be in the high 140s. You still got a machine that isn't worth that much. It might be low hour, but it's still a 2011, and you're not gonna get out of it. If you expect it to stick that in and get out what you got into it.
You'd have to use it.
Yeah, you'd have to use it.
You'd have to get the dollars out of using it.
You'd have to use it till it was done and then just not worry about what you got for it. They did have some used machines, a 2019 140 M3 with cross slope and a wing. That had 6,300 hours, they want 230,000. And then they had a 2018 140 M3 with cross slope, falls wing and falls pair lift, the front lift, with 3,688 hours for 285,000.
And this is all Butler?
Yeah, this is all Butler.
Any warranties with those used ones?
Yeah, but I think you have to pay for that. Yeah. Just like the other ones, when we bought that one from Falk County, was that 3 years ago already now? We paid $130,000 and we put extended warranty on it. We had a purchase warranty for
That
it.
was a pretty good deal, wasn't it?
It was a great deal. You ain't gonna find that anymore. Too many people have started looking at used machines. There's just nothing, and everybody's running them longer like we are. So they're just not out there really. And if they are, yeah, then you're gonna pay for them. So yes, those are kind of the numbers, and we've got a little time on the plate to decide what we wanna do. But, I guess my suggestion again would be back to put so much aside 1 year, and the next year purchase a new one. Leapfrog, do that every other year, and eventually we'd have our machines back up to, but by the time we get through them, first one's gonna be time again. But that would give us, depending on budget, that would give us a little extra money for the equipment, or we could pick up a used truck, a trailer, things like that.
Well, just comparing that new one to the newer, or the lower hour used one, is they're taking $41.50 an hour for those 3,600
Yeah.
hours. Of course, you gotta take into account that a new one will have, some updated technology and stuff like that too. But
Yeah.
that's kinda what it's costing.
So will we be replacing Josh's or?
No, it's the oldest machine that we would get rid of, and right now it's a spare, but it's not a spare, it's.
Who runs that?
Depends, Curtis ran it last summer, he came back and ran it for us, and, but what I would do is, I'd probably give it to Josh and roll his machine down, being he is the dirt foreman, and he puts more hours on his machine. So, my plan would be to do
Is
that.
that 11, is that in Long Lake or is it here?
No, that one's here.
Yeah, and then, so does Sid go up and run out of Long Lake
Yep,
something?
Sid's running out of Long Lake. He has the Fall County machine. He's got that one. Craig's got the 150, the newest one we've got. That does not have cross slope, that is just a standard all-wheel drive.
So then you're suggesting possibly 26, delivery in 27?
Whatever you guys think we can handle, the money part of it. I know this year, last year I had a $385,000 equipment budget, this year I have a $200,000. We increased my, or you increased my highway supplies by 200,000, but dropped my equipment by 185. And, you know, not saying that, the bottom line is the bottom line at the end of the year, whatever the bottom line says. You know, that's what I go by, the other line items get moved around a little bit. But, as far as, you know, I don't know what we can put away or what you gentlemen feel we can put
So
away.
are you suggesting that out of that $200,000 that you have for this year, that you would put $100,000 of it away for?
I'd like to, yeah, we could. I'd like to get a trailer. I got that down
I
here.
see that.
We got 2 trailers that are really worn. The gates are worn bad. It's time to roll them down the road. We bought them in 2011, 12.
They're like 48,000?
No, we paid 10 grand a piece.
Oh, they're used,
Or no, they were used ones, they were trains. We wanted the pups, so we had to buy, they wouldn't sell just the pups, we bought the trains. And then we moved a different trailer down the road and we kept these trains. And, we paid 20,000 for the trains a piece. We've ran them for, you know, more than 10 years.
So who's
Right at 10
this
years.
Trail King, who are you buying from?
Trail King would be Butler's. Cross Country is RDO and Cross Country is made in Canada. And the only thing that scares me about that is, well, for one, they're more money. So that, you know, they price themselves out of it. But anytime, like even my Schulte Moores, when I gotta get parts out of Canada, if they don't have them here, I'm looking at 2-3 weeks. You know, so, and Trail King's been really good to work with, and I can get them overnight usually, the parts. And, I never got a price back from Casanova at DMI on Renko. He hasn't got me a price back. So the 68,673 for a pub, or sorry, for a belly dump with a hitch for pulling pub. That's off Sourcewell. It's a governmental purchasing site where we can go on and they've got all different list of equipment. And we can pick out what we want, what options, and we can buy off of that. And then we got a discount. It was closer to the high 70s on that. After the discount, brought it down to 68,673. And that'll be a triple axle, just like the last one we purchased.
Let's go back to the first item. Do we first have to order this in May? If we make a decision, we just wanna think about this for another meeting, for another month? Personally, if we could swing it, putting 120,000 away this year, you get 80 to 90 for the old one and another 200,000 the next year. We know darn well that our used machine's gonna be less and the new one's gonna be up 20%. Whether we like it or not, that's just how it goes.
It actually came down. Last year, we had a bid of 485. That's where they were at last year.
There is something that came down.
It came down. So,
Well, maybe we wanna wait then. No, I
Steel is
wouldn't take my
cheaper.
chances on it. I'm, you know, you're looking
You
at
you never know about the used ones either, they might be worth a little bit more.
that.
You just don't know what the deal is.
yeah,
I just look at, 285,000, you're over half for an 8-year-old machine. We gotta start somewhere to rebuild our inventory.
yeah, we're getting to the point where,
How about
Yeah.
trucks, Glenn? Are they they still Sterlings coming from the state, or are they getting through them? Cause they're running Freightliners now mostly.
Yeah, mostly Sterlings right now, yeah, they're coming through. I don't know if they'll have anything decent,
If you had any trouble finding parts, or have you had to for the ones you got?
not bad. A lot of like what we were worried about years ago, now they make aftermarket parts.
Yeah,
The ductwork, the dash, some things you have trouble getting, but mainly the ductwork and everything, that was a problem, we've been able to get aftermarket. As far as the drivetrain goes, that is not a problem. Very good trucks, the guys love running them more so than the internationals. Internationals are more rough riding, and then we've got a lot more problem today with the international trucks. For whatever reason, the radiators don't stand up anymore like they used to. They're like thinner. I swear they're thinner, cause we got way more
You can't
rock.
even fix them.
No, there's
Just
more rock
buy new ones.
bunches in them, and we're getting really good at replacing them.
What about the fourth one,
Yeah,
in 15 years?
and you can go OEM or you can get aftermarket, doesn't matter. They're all about the same. We haven't had any issues with bunching radiators in the Sterlings. Maybe just the way everything sits up higher. But overall, the guys really do like them. I mean, we were nervous about getting them because of all those issues. But now that there's some aftermarket
I
stuff,
thought the
it's not so
dashes
bad.
were Ford.
What's
The
that?
dashes I thought were Ford.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
think you'd be able to get the stuff?
They just don't make, not making things. So I guess that's the other thing, right now, trucks, with a pup, and then, possibly, looking at trucks, this year, maybe one, whatever we can find, if there's a good one available. You guys gotta be careful on those.
You still have the one that you put the 466 from
Oh, yeah.
Deuces in?
Yeah, that works great. I know everybody hates the lower horsepower, keeps saying there's not enough power. It's all we had in the 90s. All we had was 466.
What do you wreck with it?
What's that?
What else do you wreck on the truck?
Yeah,
Nothing.
the plows get bent up, but no, that's been working really good. Had to rebuild and remodel, airlines and everything else, but, the air to air and all that. But we've used it a lot. I think it was well worth it.
Okay, what do we wanna do with the road graders?
I think we should just order it,
You gonna order it? Okay.
and buy one anyway.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan, it's not so bad to rebuild it, but like you said, it's not gonna improve.
No. No. Okay. Any other discussion on that?
So you go to the cross slope.
If Josh uses it, he'll want it. If I move it to Josh.
I
He
think
will
we
want it.
might as well, cause there's probably some of the newer operators might get that, might wanna experiment with that and do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll second that.
we have a motion by Jeff, we have a second by Neil. Any other discussion on this? Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I will talk to Chad about that and get the paperwork going on it. As far as the Trail King trailer goes, that would be this year. That, if I wanted to get one in May, I'd have to order that now.
I would say try to keep your budget down, you said you have 200,000, but
Yeah,
try to at least preserve 100,000.
okay,
If the trailer's what you need, get the trailer.
Is this a Trail King?
yeah.
Is it completely wore out, or is it something where you can put the gates in the bottom?
Well, I mean, if somebody wanted to haul a few loads here and there, it's still usable. I mean, when I'm hauling.
But it isn't just the gates that are wore out, is what you're saying?
No, I mean, we keep them up, we just went through everything. We had some valves that needed to be replaced, one wheel, the bearings, we found they were getting bad, so we replaced those. Brakes are good, it's not that it isn't, I mean, you can use it, but, we don't use it for dumping asphalt because it won't work for that, the gates just, they don't close, like as quick as they should, and everything, and that that always has been an issue with that trailer for us. Our way, that one, the bushings and everything, the gates are just gone. And that one never did close right. I don't know how to explain it. We can't use it for hot mix either. They'll actually close, one will swing before the other at times. And you always gotta make sure it closes properly, you know, so that it comes together where it's supposed to. It's just a lot of wear. There's a lot of wear parts on that.
And it wouldn't pay to even think about trying to rebuild that whole thing. I'm just asking.
For us?
Yeah,
No.
okay,
I think we're gonna stick so much money into it.
okay.
Are they worth $10,000 if you sell them
I don't know what they're going for now.
Boy, with everybody with semis around here, you'd probably be surprised what you get.
Yeah.
Put it on the sale out here, you know?
It-
That's all air, isn't it?
If
Yeah.
you're gonna buy one, and you have no use for surplus.
Yeah, I will. Oh, yeah, definitely.
We found out with mowers, you know what they bring.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you spend 70,000 here, can you keep on
Oh.
30,000 of the grader, or do you have other things you need to purchase under that budget?
Depends on if there's a good gravel truck available through the state. Then you're looking.
You're usually looking in the 30s.
So you're taking away that.
Depends on the year. Last year they were down a little. And we didn't buy one last year. I can't remember what the reasoning, well, we were holding back. Last year they were 26,000. The year before that, they were 36,000. Depends on how they appraise them.
So, just a question, kind of our bookkeeping, how would we handle that in the next budget cycle? We would budget to pay for the whole thing, but we have money that we assigned to that, correct? So we would add that into the next budget, right?
Yes.
We would unassign, I think, what do we have there, 200,000 or 300,000 or something like that?
Yes, so this year we would preserve the 100,000 of budget and then also assume that we'll have 100,000 of cash to follow that
Right.
reduced budget this year. So then you could expect to assign an additional 100,000, and then we would work that assigned cash into next year's budget
Okay.
as well. But the entire expense would have to be budgeted
Well,
for
yeah,
next year as well, yeah.
I was just kinda wondering how that assigned money fits into the equation.
Yes,
But
we'd have to
you
do it.
have to, it has to be, at the time of the budget, we have to include that.
Yes, at the time of the budget, we'd have to include the assigned cash and also the budget authority for the expense. And then at the end of the year, then there'd have to be a formal motion by the board to move that cash. But yes, we could plan that, and I can plan for changing the budget for this year to make
Okay.
that work.
So what happens to the sale of the used one when the new one comes in?
So that would be, if the sale happened this year, then we would see the revenue this year, but then you could then, either that would be additional revenue for this year, or we could take that cash that we receive and add it to the 100,000 that we would have preserved by not buying something this year, and then you could assign all of that cash for
Okay.
use of next year.
I would rather do it in the same year,
Yeah,
because you're probably gonna be using that off and on until the end.
yeah. Yep.
Did Butler, would they make an offer on it, or they probably don't do that anymore?
Probably not. The only way that would work is if we actually bid it, but then everybody else has the opportunity. And then you've got people coming in, you know, okay, RDO comes in and they bid.
Yeah.
And you put that in as an option where they trade our machine in, you know, and you guys know, new gentlemen wouldn't, but we, the operators prefer to run with the cat. And we've had really good service through cat. And the difference, the main difference that they absolutely don't like is the joysticks in the deer versus the cat. The cat, it follows your hand as you're steering, it goes with your hand. And on the deer, it's like a Terex scraper. You run it to this side, put it back to center, you wanna bring it back, you run it over to this side. You gotta pull it back, basically. You know, so it's it's nicer to keep all the machines the same.
Yeah.
Operators can jump from one to the other and it's not an issue.
Yep.
So, he said if
I don't
it
think,
ever happened, they deal with it, but right now the prices aren't,
I don't think there's much price difference.
no,
In
not
fact,
really.
in the last time, the year was actually higher, I think.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah. So, so I'll talk to Chad about the motor grader and then, have authority to purchase a pup.
Knock yourself out.
That's this one right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Trail King triple axle.
And there was no other options, no other prices?
I got one from, like I said, cross country, it was higher, and, but that one, like I said, comes out of Canada, and Renko never got back to me, but I expect them to be higher also. Renko's a good trailer, but they're more spendy.
Yeah, we need a motion to purchase that, Trail King triple axle,
I'll move to,
moved by Newhart, second,
Second.
second by Mike. Any other questions for Glenn? I'm trying to save his voice here.
That's okay.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carried.
Just a couple other little things here, paying the bills with the new process that we've gotta go through was supposed to have them a couple days prior to the meeting. I'm having a little issue with some of my vendors that we've used forever, Share Corporation, our cleaning products, some of our spray products, aerosols. CHS propane came in late and they gave us they wanna charge us late fees if they.
Just call them, they'll waive it.
yeah, but if you gotta do that every month,
Oh, I know.
But it'd be easier just to, these are ones I always use. Share CHS Max once in a while, and then Crawford Truck. Does that not be something I can?
we're
have
still
as
gonna
well?
review them.
Oh,
I
definitely.
mean, it's not
We
like,
do, we always have.
Yeah.
You always have. But you know, it's one of those I'd like to be able to get through, so I don't have the hassle every month of dealing with them, and, it's not a new build, it's something we've always had.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that. You know, if all of a sudden there's something in Crawford's at $30,000, we'll probably look at it a little bit.
Yeah, and it's just mainly parts.
Yeah. You guys good with that?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we should we need to specify who he wants pre-approved? You have your list?
Right now, Share Corporation, CHS, Max, and Crawford Trucks.
Okay.
It's good enough for me.
All right,
I wanna add those to the list of the ones we already have.
Yep.
okay, we have a motion? Motion by Neil, second,
Second.
second by Mike, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Bridge inspector resolution, that is in your tab,
Yep. Every 2 years, we have,
tab two.
bridge inspection program where the state pay their percentage, we pay ours, and, we have to send a resolution and pick a consultant. IMEG Engineering, or right now it's IMEG Consultant Corporation, is the one that does the inspections here.
Oh, where are they at?
Clark Engineering,
Oh, that used to be Clark.
yep, used to be Clark,
What's it called now?
IMEG. They were purchased by IMEG, so.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
What do we have, 4 bridges? 5?
We've got 5 structures that we have inspected. One is a double 10-foot culvert set back where Gary Schanzenbach used to live. That's set right there. And then we've got the bridge just north of Wetonka. We took out the bridge by Lyle Jones' place, or Dudenhofer's, Steve Dudenhofer's. We've got the box culverts north of Leola by the old Rice place. And we've got another bridge. We redid the deck on that by Earl Greebley's on County Road 1.
Yep.
And then we've got the Leola Dam here. That is now a bridge, being it's over 20 feet. So that's an inspected structure. And then periodically, I have them inspect the wood structure on 3 in between the Eureka Lakes. That's an old wood bridge in there, so periodically, there's a lot of truck traffic, and it's been good. You know, we just keep on checking bridges, for you guys that are new, we're very lucky. We only have a few, and they're in really good condition. So
What's Brown County, they had like 155 and 30 some are closed.
Yeah, between Brown and Space, there's around 300 bridges.
Yeah.
So we're pretty lucky in that respect. The one by Greeley's, we just put a new top on, had that rebuilt. The Leola Dam is new. The other ones we have are in great shape.
So we shouldn't really see any issues.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to, for resolution 2511, the bridge re-inspection program.
Also move.
I'll
So moved
second.
by Mike, second by Sid, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. You have everything, Glenn?
Meetings, I got, superintendent short course in March, the 17th through the 20th. I'll leave late on the 17th, starts on the 18th. And, we need approval for that, and then also, I just wanted to remind you guys that the MSHA refresher training, annual mandatory refresher training, will be the 18th of this month in Aberdeen. And weather pending, I'll take the whole crew down, and if we have bad weather, I'll send part of the crew, and the other part I'll try to reschedule. There's another 2 days in March. So, Mine Safety Health Act.
Then I'll make the motion into, can I add the weed board? Maybe we did that already. The weed board, Nathan Huffman and Curtis Hoff go to their weed conference.
I believe that was it.
It probably was.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
last, we did
just
that
wanna make
last
sure
one.
we did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll make the motion for,
Okay, sure, the motion would be for the superintendent to attend the short course and also the refresher training for the employees.
Right,
Sid?
exactly.
Okay.
We have,
second.
We have a second, what, Glenn?
go ahead.
Okay. Any other questions on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
One last thing before you guys, do whatever you gotta do. There is another sheet here that had a couple rollers on it.
Well, that's what that is?
Yeah, we were looking at them. I can't find a roller like the ones we use. They're not out there. We've got two old Rex steel face roller with rubber tire drive. One of them, lost a piston last year. It's an older John Deere industrial engine. We got parts for it, and we found, a piston jug set, and, it's running again
Who did it?
at Rick Terry Park.
It's awesome.
So, top of the piston came apart. So he checked, Jay brought his stuff to town, he's got a old injector tester, and that was still good, so we put a new jug in it. And then, the water pump was loose. I found a kit online and ordered that, and put that together. She's up and running again, so now we have our main roller, and we still have the old spare. So we're gonna run with that. I cannot find that configuration in a newer roller. They don't have them.
Rubber tire drive with the
Yeah.
steel face in front.
You can get a dirt compactor that way with smooth face, but you have to add water to it and smooth tires. You know, they make them, but not like this. So, yeah, that's up and running again, so that's one thing we aren't gonna worry about. That's all I got, gentlemen.
Okay. All right, thank you, Glenn.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll move on to courthouse maintenance. The chemical pump for the boiler went out. New one will approximately be $1,800. Anything else on that, Lindley?
Nope, that's, yeah, the chemical pump is shot, that needs to be replaced, and then she also is planning to call an electrician for the two lights out in this main hallway. There must be a short somewhere because they are periodically on and off or flashing, so. Just
I guess.
FYI.
Sharon asked me once, and I forgot to bring it up, so whatever, this door being reversed, so it's not a trap. Also,
Should swing out.
should swing out. So something to think about for maybe the agenda next time,
Okay.
talk about, I don't know. Kind of minor with a lot of other debates to be had, but to get brought up.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to say aye.
I,
All opposed.
can,
Go ahead.
finish.
Motion carried.
Okay, can that be installed by us, or do we have to have them come out and
No,
install it?
we have to buy it and have GNR controls installed.
Okay.
And then they manage the chemical as well, so they would make sure that that is all
Okay.
functioning properly.
Just an FYI, treasurer's office will not be able to register vehicles in the 14th through the 18th. Is this something that, where do we advertise this, that?
She's had it in the paper and it's been on Facebook, so then just if you get any questions, the state is converting to a new, vehicle registration system, so they're migrating from the old system to the new system. Hopefully everything's back up and running on the 18th, but I think the fear is it could be a touch longer, so that's why they're asking anyone that needs to re-register in February to come in, beforehand, so they're not.
Okay, as long as there's notification out there, nobody drives over and then they're upset.
It's out there and we'll
Okay.
keep putting it out there, but
Okay.
you can't guarantee that, I guess everybody will see it, but like,
Okay.
hopefully the word is out there. And it affects every county in South Dakota, so there has been a lot of, other counties too that are publishing, so.
Okay.
If anyone asks, it affects us too. If you have to re-register or buy something in February, come in early.
All right, board, would you like to approve the claims prior to going into executive session, or would you like to do executive session for the legal 1-25-2-3?
I would say do the executive first.
Okay.
Finish with.
All right, I would, entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Sure.
Moved by Mike.
I wanted to, while we're talking about treasure stuff, the camera system, is that gonna be on YouTube then? Or,
Okay, so we're just recording to the iPad. Dave had an extra iPad, so we're directly recording to the iPad, and then the hope is to publish it to YouTube later,
at some point?
today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes. So it's not live, we
Right.
would have to have like a Zoom or something for that.
Thank you.
Was there a motion?
Well-
Will it be live in the future or not? I guess we'll figure that out.
We would have to migrate to like a Teams or a Zoom or some other platform, so Dave had planned to write a couple grants for the Eureka office building, and one of the grants, he'd prefer to get a door lock grant, but he said if that one, would not be approved, then he would have a secondary ready that would include like a camera system, so then we could potentially
I think
get that.
I think it would be our intention, there's some things to iron out before that.
We don't have the capability right now today to do live.
Okay.
So it would be more equipment and,
After the session, you have something more going on?
We just have the bills. That's it.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
And you can pay him if you want.
5-minute break for.
did we have a motion to
Well,
go?
Jeff
into-
started.
We had Mike
Okay.
and we had Jeff and we all
Jeff.
voted, yeah.
Okay.
Peanut.
Okay, sorry.
Appraisals? Reviews, sorry?
Yes.
Before I forget, that's, as I don't know where, Annie Jones is.
Is this, two motions to present the bills and present the report?
They can be together or
okay.
separately.
I was down to Andy Myers yesterday.
Okay.
I returned some cords and, Edmonds County had a international 2674 motor shop. And he said it's a pretty nice truck.
Yeah.
I
Is
just
that
thought-
something you're looking for?
No, I was,
That
I
won't fit
was,
what you eat?
it's a little more than what I want, and it needs a motor, you know?
What year is
Yeah,
that?
I'm not sure. He showed me
Motors
right there.
anymore, 15,000
But I'm just thinking if you could find
for
a,
that smaller truck.
if you could find a 466 again.
Yeah.
I need a motion to approve the presented bills and also the presented reports. So moved by Neil, second by Mike, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Now we can,
I'm kind of looking for a truck, you know?
Yeah.
And talking to the Crawfords, you gotta have 400 horsepower. You know, why would you want less horsepower? Well, that's the reason I'm not in the shop all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're not blowing
Yeah.
rear ends out and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
I don't want that much power.
what do you wanna put it on?
Pull that hay mover.
Oh, yeah?
Just stub in, I'm looking for a if I can find a single axe.
Yeah,
We had it's hard to find a double frame, like 7,400. They almost gotta be a plow truck.
yeah.
And then they're rusty. Or they have a light transmission, they got the 3000 series.
So you're looking for a running truck you just chop off and put under it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then do you go newer than 06 because of the, max force is absolute junk.
The guys are telling me if you take the max force and delete it,
Delete it.
and take all that crap off, they're good engine.
It's a pretty good engine.
Yeah.
So it's
you
a
got-
570, the max force standard, right?
I'm not even sure.
I think so, it's based off of 570.
Yeah,
Do you have any 570s? But the 530 isn't that great a motor, is it? That's, just
we haven't had a lot of issues with them, but
Looks good.
we found a really decent one in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Marshfield, Wisconsin. But it's got 3,000 series automatic, and then I was looking at 654s, cause that's what our truck has, way heavier transmission.
Yeah.
Mechanical transmission. So then you run into the engine use, the ECM communicates with that transmission, and I can't find anybody that knows whether you could program that transmission out. So it's just, what do you do, you know?
yeah,
Have I got it?
No. Heard that before.
yeah.
I don't need 370.
That's the thing with all the electronics anymore, you can't cannibalize anything and make things work like we used to.
Yeah, I know it.
Well, I talked to Andy about it yesterday,
Just forgot this.
like that truck that he's got with the motor shot. You know, you could pull that motor and tranny out and just put old school in there
Yeah,
and run it that way.
yeah,
But either way, a hay mover, you'd never want that hot exhaust. You could,
no,
Oh,
you'd
yeah, I
be in
never
trouble.
thought about that.
so it'd have
So
to
do
be.
you
deleted
exhaust
over
out the top or you go underneath?
Bottom, yeah, but some guys go out the top, I don't see how it works.
Yeah. Well, guys that delete, Saponiac Crushing, they're the ones that told me they got into some,
Okay.
and,
Third, I think, isn't it?
they
No,
got
it
into
is
some
lower.
max force engines and,
I'm looking at yours at
they
top.
deleted them and they said they've been great
Yeah.
ever since they deleted them. And they buy them cheap because nobody wants
Yeah.
them.
Max Force?
Yeah.
It's working for him, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
so,
Dana told me that they'd be fine if they're completely deleted.
yeah, and that's what these guys are doing. If you find somebody that can do it for you,
Dennis Wolf bought a Puma 230, which is a 6.7. You know, metal,
yeah,
but he took it, got it deleted right away,
yeah,
didn't even mess with it. But we bought a different one, it's the first one we got on the place with Jeff. They said, Lance thought the guys are tight, and they said, you probably won't have any problem at all,
yeah.
you know, but if you start having problems,
That's
the mechanic said, I didn't tell you this, but just get it done.
Yeah, but the dealerships won't do it, right?
Oh no, they can't trade a tractor in or sell a tractor.
That's
It doesn't, yep.
Yeah,
And they're actually supposed to, if a mechanic comes out to your farm or works on a piece of equipment that's been deleted, he
Yeah.
is supposed to report it to the dealership. And they're supposed to report it to the
Yep,
federal,
yep, you
to the
just said.
federal government.
yeah,
So now my newest semi is a 2020. I've had the check engine light go on twice, well, the first time it went on, I thought, I suspected my depth gauge was not close to empty, but it was, probably a third.
Yeah.
empty. Well, that's the only thing, I took it tonight, and they put it on there, and he said there's no active codes or anything, they reset everything, but he said, there's probably something in it. And drove it for 6 months. Then the other day, light comes on,
yeah.
my Jeff was about the same thing. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking, the depth F
Gauge is
sensor
off.
is off,
And,
and it reset itself after about 3 trips, the light went off. And that's what it said, if the light goes off after 3 trips, don't worry
keep
about it.
driving,
But it's not the same way, I
you
mean,
just
if I
gotta
have
keep
issues,
that one a little fuller,
if I have issues, I'm just gonna leave.
and I know Mark has been, you know, Gene's Oil here, he's been super happy with his since he deleted it,
Yeah,
His truck,
and,
well, the EGR went on that and wiped the motor out, didn't it?
did it?
That was
Yeah.
pretty new.
yeah, he had a lot of grief with that, you know, up
And
and
that was
down.
a Max Force 10, right? I'm pretty sure.
Not 100% certain which one he's got.
So who the Spaniak, who would I talk to? Who's a mechanic?
That I couldn't tell you, you just have to call Joe and ask Joe about it,
Yeah.
you know,
Chances are all everything we did was bigger stuff.
and. You never thought of asking him, they handle our way triple axles.
What's that?
Spaniak, they actually manufactured our way triple axles.
Really?
They bought that part of the company.
Where are they based out of exactly?
I can't, I have to go back and look at their address.
Minnesota.
Minnesota,
something
yeah.
like that.
It's in Minnesota, but
All stick together. Do the same.
at least I haven't heard anything. I'm pretty sure they didn't sell it again, but
So what, Bruce's pile up there, what's the deal? Did you just try to sell it or?
I don't know. I know at one time he talked to me about getting it bonded, you know, and getting the proper, paperwork from the state and DNR. He was telling me how difficult it was. Said some of Stanley, said that wasn't hard at all.
I did it.
Yeah, so I don't know what his big deal is. Or maybe they want something he doesn't wanna do, or,
What do you have to do? You're talking about gravel?
yeah, when you sell gravel, you're supposed to have bond, you know, be bonded and everything, and
Oh, yeah?
that, yeah. So I don't know.
It's not when you give it away, right?
Yeah.
I don't take payment. I may trade some.
Bid ready?
Yeah, bid ready.
So that's where, you know, governmental, we don't have to do that.
Yeah,
We still have to reclaim, and just like the private guy,
yeah.
we just don't have to have the bond in that,
Well, I'm pretty much out of the graph.
yeah.
Just for my own use.
Well, I think Bruce said he put up like, was it 19,000 ton? Pretty size pile. Something about their he didn't put up more, but their generator broke down, so then they ended up moving, and otherwise he wanted to put up more.
Different stories.
Is that what, you hear a different story?
Yeah. They wanted out of it because it was just a few hour job for them.
Yeah.
There's a lawsuit in play?
Probably.
Follows the man, doesn't it? Did his land sell yet, or when is that?
Sometime in February, middle of
Yeah,
February.
that's the sold, yeah.
How much land?
He's selling 500 and some and renting out another 900 or
Just some
something.
rent packages. A lot of it's up north of town, there's 1/4 west of Dave Rots.
Yeah, his old quarter. Out here, is he selling the one right on the north side of the
Yeah.
cemetery?
Well, I guess I don't know, but it's part of it. It's either sold or rent.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Well,
Yeah, it's probably 15. I don't know if it was 15. We put some nice stuff together up here at Turnwall.
well, then there was that across from Pat Lockey too.
Yeah.
And that, I think that son, a lot of the family, you know, he ended up with that.
Oh, yeah,
From what I understand, the stuff on the north side of Daryl's, where that gravel pit is.
yeah.
I don't know if that's completely settled yet.
Did you hear about who bought the Bogenhagen place?
No, we're curious.
Yeah.
Cause,
It's weird that, so somebody asked the realtor and he said, I can't tell you, so
On the back
that
side.
means it's sold in my mind, because if it didn't sold, he would say, it didn't sell.
It's under contract is what I was told.
Okay.
Who's
So
this place?
So, over Darlene, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Well, the sad part about that is the house, everything got let go.
You know,
So what do you really get? It's all
You
creek
get a
miles.
mess.
1.5 miles south.
Yeah.
It's just
And a
like
creek.
Yeah, it's a big creek, and then they even fenced out the creek on the bottom end.
It's a mile south
So,
and then about a mile back.
You know, my son, he right away said, you know, he's not ready for it, he's still got school.
Really kinda hidden down there.
And he thought, you know, that'd be kind of a neat place to have it. I said,
Oh, it definitely would,
they
but
just want too much.
if you've got a lot of sweat equity,
Yeah, they wanted too much for it to
because
start
if you
with.
pay over 250, you've already paid plenty for the land and plenty for the shop, and after that, it's just a mess.
Was that shop even cemented out?
16 feet on the inside and like 20-foot apron on the front.
Oh, yeah.
So, Milk didn't put that up, did he?
No, the shop blew down 2 years ago in that, or 2.5 years ago, and then the Hutterites came in and built a new one, probably an insurance
Sure.
deal. But in the same storm, the house sustained major damage.
Oh,
And,
you got busted up pretty bad.
yeah, a lot of people took a hit that night, but, then, prior to that, the place, I was in it prior to that storm, and it was disgusting.
Run down.
Yeah, it was gross. And then, I'm not sure, I think probably since that deal, the sump pump quit, and the drain field backed up, and there was
Oh,
20 inches or so, give or take. I never taped it, but in the basement, it's a scar on the wall, and it's gross.
oh.
And
So does it,
anything can be picked up and cleaned up, but it's a lot of work,
I wouldn't wanna clean it.
you know.
Somebody else would clean that.
And that house had a lot of problems. I mean, it's built right next to the creek, so I know they had a lot of problems with the drain field when vendors lived there.
Well, in the 90s, I saw that water solid through there.
Yeah,
I think it almost ran in the house.
and slab on grade.
Yeah.
The best option. Yeah, well, it's not.
It's not.
It started out as a basement house originally when it was built in the 50s, I think.
Yeah.
Then they added a second story, or, you know, main story.
Well, then the other buildings are bad too.
Right.
I mean, the other,
How about
part of the
drainage?
roof's
Maybe more?
missing, part of the roof is missing, and it's just too much.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
old red barn there,
business, weren't you?
yeah,
I mean, it could be salvaged, but for what, a lot of people don't find any value in them anyways.
Yeah.
Unless you wanna make a little shop out of them, a little workshop.
that old wood, those old wood barns were great for like calves,
Yeah.
you know, pale calves and things like that, yeah, they're warm, but,
You have heifers and ours, you have to ours as well.
yeah.
Did you ever see what I did with mine?
I didn't say never paid attention.
I, took the balcony out and raised it up, put in a 50.5 foot high door.
Okay,
And, you know, it's all tin. The one lean-to I opened up and if I wouldn't have a shop, I would've made it into a shop.
yeah,
Al Hoppy did too.
yeah.
Did you want
It
your
actually
I did it for Jerry.
Well, you did it, Neil did it.
Oh, yeah.
My barn, my hip roof barn.
Oh, man, he just signs the outside.
So,
That's, yeah.
as we cut, how do we do that? To take the balcony out, we cut it down the middle.
Oh, sure.
And then cut like 10-foot pieces, and I came with the loader with pallet forks and just grabbed it with grab fork, and pulled them out like that. Well, it kinda opened up a little bit.
Yeah.
So they got done working on it, and it was fall, late fall, and we had a windy day. And the next day I had to stop at Neil's for something. And it was in the morning, and I pulled in, and he was back in his garage, and I said, Neil, that wind, the building, the doors don't close. And he's like, oh. And I was just giving him a hard time. But it's been a good building. I mean, I drive my combine in there, big grain cart, 4-wheel drive tractor.
Well, once you took that out, did you stabilize it so it couldn't spread more?
Yeah,
Center
yeah,
brace.
we put more knee braces in, and we actually put another.
Upper floor in?
You know, up the floor.
We, Dad had moved, from up by Root Lawn, he had moved in a hayloft part of an old barn.
Oh, okay.
And then moved it with the hayloft floor in. Well, they cut it off about that far below the hayloft. Moved it in, tore the hayloft out, and then just put doors in it, just used it for a shed, and over the years, it never had any braces.
Oh, really?
Over the years, it went like this. So, I don't know, back in the nineties, I took 3 or 4 cable jacks, put them in the center, and just kept going back and forth, and got that sucker straight. And then we put trusses in on
Yeah,
top,
yeah.
and let it go,
If
and
you
then we
would just want
put
the
steel on the
vision
whole thing, and
only,
it's,
then Guardian's
it
the
worked.
only one that has a
The
vision only.
shop in Long Lake, started to pull out at the bottom,
Yeah.
and, there, wasn't bad yet, but it was out a little bit. I just went down on the outside with an auger
Application.
and put a bunch of holes down in and rebar, and we put a
So
slab
then
on
we
the inside,
also offer.
just to tie it in.
Dental,
You know,
get
hasn't
it
gone
through
nowhere.
Oregon or through
And it
Colonial
sealed
Life.
everything
If you
up,
wanna
so
sign
the
up
rodents don't
with
get in
Colonial
like they
Life, it
did.
would be through them directly.
That was actually when we did ours. That was actually pretty easy, because we still had to develop, or
The church
Hey,
always done that before,
when we
so.
put the seals in, so
Yeah.
we weren't working
So I,
15, 18 feet off the ground.
vision
That
only,
was
yep,
hard.
and then
Yeah.
you
You
can
don't
sign
need
and
wire.
we'll get you
so
signed
was it
and
at one of
just
those great big
repeat that.
gable roof barns?
Actually,
Big,
probably
yeah.
just
It
sign
was
it,
built-
you would have.
In 1941.
Wow. You filled it with air bales many times.
Oh, yeah. My dad said it was during the
Yeah, we'll
war
have all
that a
Connie's
guy
information
came
through this
around
form, so if you just sign
and
this one,
he
then I can fill the
spent 2
rest
weeks
out and get you
and
signed up.
cut every piece of wood that that barn
Just
needed
sign right there, yeah.
by hand. Cut it all by hand.
Sign you up for the
It took
vision
2 weeks,
only,
and then
they'll
after
email
that, the
you
neighbors
cards.
came around and the guy was
So they'll
a
have,
supervisor, you know, and he said they put
just
that
a-
barn up in.
A card with the county's number, and then they use your
And
social
stuff.
security
Yeah,
number
Yeah,
as
that's
the
our,
plan.
of course, our house was
Yeah,
built
the
in 26, and that's how it was.
vision.
The whole stairway, the whole staircase in that house is off by like 2 inches.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Vision care,
Sitting in the
either
dining
Eureka
room,
or.
so you do the floor, and
Yeah.
you gotta cut it all at an angle.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
how
we're
I
just
something like
going
that's
to
where it goes.
vision here,
Oh, I
so-
don't have this. So every
There
day.
were a few that,
half bubble.
were Barnett Vision
I think I
people,
still got
and
'em at the shop,
unfortunately are no longer
the
covered
little
on
tool
either
to
plan.
put the pitch on the saw,
So some of those
you know,
people switched to a
not to
different.
sharpen it, but just to set the pitch on them,
Okay.
you know? Yeah, when I grew up, that's how we sawed everything. We didn't have a skill saw until I got a little older. The old man would chew you out when you didn't run it right, even a hand saw.
God, no gamer did all of my stuff when I was growing up.
Yeah,
Had to have the right stroke.
oh yeah, if you got stuck, he wasn't happy with you.
Okay, is there anything else we want to discuss before we adjourn?
I say I make a motion that we pay the bills.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll
Second by Sid, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Next meeting, March 4th at 10 a.m.
And I move that we adjourn.
Okay, we move to adjourn by Sid and second by Mike. That's it.
We made history.
Way to move.
Now I gotta go home.